We'll call to order tonight's Committee of the Whole for the Auburn City Council meeting for May the 21st, 2024. The City Council should have the minutes from the Committee of the Whole of May the 7th. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes of the Committee of the Whole on May the 7th? If not, is there a move to approve?
So moved.
A motion is second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the minutes are carried forth. Questions on tonight's agenda for City Manager Crouch, being substituted tonight by Scott Cummins, and thank you, Scott, for being here.
Thank you.
Any questions on the agenda tonight for Mr. Cummins? Okay, anything for us?
Just want to remind you that on June 4th at your Committee of the Whole meeting, you'd anticipated speaking and a little more about the Old Mill to McKinley sidewalk concept along East University Drive.
Okay.
And to clarify, that evening is just discussion, no voting would be taking place that evening?
That discussion, yes. And I think the goal would be to determine if whether or not the council would wish for us to move forward with design or not.
Okay, because we've received quite a bit of communications
Yes.
from constituents who are under the impression that we will be voting on something on that evening.
Yeah, there wouldn't be voting to approve it. If anything, you would be voting to ask us to move forward with any design or looking further into it.
Just by consensus? Yeah.
Were we actually taking a vote on that, or
No.
just?
It's just consensus.
Yeah, okay.
Anything else? All right, so move to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, we are adjourned. For our audience, we'll get started right at 6 o'clock, okay? We'll call to order tonight's Auburn City Council meeting for May the 21st, 2024. Certainly welcome everyone who has joined us live, and we welcome those who are listening on WANI and who are also joining us through our streaming services with YouTube and Facebook. Thank all of you for being here. Roll call, Lindsay.
Adams,
Here.
Koblenz,
Here.
Dawson,
Here.
Griswold,
Here.
Mormon,
Here.
Parsons,
Here.
Taylor,
Here.
Witten,
Here.
Anders.
Here. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and then remain standing for a moment of silence? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Earlier tonight during the Committee of the Whole, there was no business for the council to consider. Substitute City Manager Cummings did remind the City Council that at our next meeting on June the 4th during the Committee of the Whole, that the City Council will take up a discussion about the Old Mill sidewalk that would stretch between Old Mill and McKinley Avenue that would run alongside East University Drive. We had that discussion 2 weeks ago, so we'll continue that discussion. And the purpose of that discussion is whether the City Council would ask the staff to move forward with design or not. And so that'll be the discussion of that night. At that point in time, just taking that further, Mr. Cummins, if there were to be an effort to go through the design process, then the staff would come back to the City Council and give us a number that we would need to consider at a City Council meeting to approve the project.
That's correct, yes.
Okay.
Likely be something we would add to the budget.
It's currently not budgeted right now.
Currently not budgeted, correct.
Okay. All right, just want to make sure everybody understands what we'll be doing that evening. As far as mayor's announcements, I want to remind everyone Memorial Day is upon us, and the mayor's Memorial Day breakfast will be this Monday morning at the Auburn University Hotel and Conference Center. Individual tickets are $25. If you'd like a table, those are $250, and please contact City Hall for that. This is always a very, very special and unique time as we recognize and remember those who have paid the ultimate price for our freedoms and our abilities to have meetings like this tonight. The breakfast will be followed with a wreath laying over here at the Veterans Memorial. It's always a special morning. If you're going to be in town, I encourage you to participate. This week is also a big graduation week for many of our young people in our community. On a practical level, I want to remind everyone that Thursday night at Doug Sanford Park, Auburn High School will be undergoing graduation. If you don't need to be in that area, I suggest you not go in that area unless you'd like to get into a traffic jam. There'll be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kids there. It'll be like a big-time football game. But we'll have young people from Auburn that are graduating in a number of schools this week, and certainly we wish all of them the best, and we're proud that they're graduating in our community from schools that are in our town, and we hope that their dreams continue to come true as they move forward into college or whatever might be next for them. Also this week is the beginning of Camp War Eagle, which is a very important part of the student experience at Auburn, and it's also a very important part of our economy during the summertime. And the first session of Camp War Eagle, I believe, starts tomorrow or Thursday, and certainly as we go about our business here over the summer, if you see parents that maybe don't look like they know where they're going, and they might have a couple of bags in their hand, and they might be a little hot and sweaty, if you can offer them some support or help or ask them how they're doing, I know they'd appreciate it. They are signing their kids up to spend the next 4 or 5 years with us in our community, and we're very thankful for that. And then finally, I want to say congratulations to the Auburn High School girls soccer team. For the first time in school history, they are the 7A state champions, and we're very proud of those young ladies. Had a chance to spend some time with them yesterday as we presented the proclamation that will be seen at our June the 4th meeting. But what an outstanding team that won a tight game 1-0 over Hoover, and we're very proud of them. And the boys team actually made it to the state championship game as well and lost 3-0. So very proud of our soccer program at Auburn High School and thankful for their hard work and the way they represent our community. Anyone else on the dais have an announcement tonight?
I do, Mayor.
Please.
It's a big week in the Witten house. Today is Caroline's 16th birthday, so she will be on the road soon. So if you're in the Ashton Park Lakes area, please be mindful of her driving. And then also, Kate, my other daughter, is graduating and walking on Thursday. And so just a lot happening.
Anyone else?
Mayor, if we'd like to remember the AU football team in our prayers.
Yes.
Microphone, Chief. There you go.
One of our players was wounded in a shooting, and probably a useless, senseless shooting, and just like to remember the entire team and that family in our prayers and give them our support.
Sure. Thank you, Chief. Anyone else?
Yes, I want to remind everyone again about the Juneteenth. The Juneteenth parade is June 14th on Friday evening, and the event is June 15th at Kiesel Park.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay.
Congratulations to Bryson McGlynn, who won, was it MasterChef, Top Chef or MasterChef Junior?
Chef Junior.
Yeah, and I think he'll, in one of the episodes, he had mentioned that he wants to take his winnings and buy a food truck. So I think we need to make sure that we get those licenses in order and get him on the road, because I'm always up for something new to eat.
We can get him connected to the right people, yes.
That's right.
Good. Thank you, Tyler, for bringing that. All right. Anyone else? Okay. Auburn University Communications.
Good afternoon, y'all.
Good afternoon.
Hey, Jack.
As the mayor mentioned, Camp War Eagle is coming up. It's a really big time for our community, for freshmen and incoming students, and especially for parents as well, that will have some reassurance that they're sending their kid to a great school and a great community for the coming years. So I won't touch too much more on that. Some exciting news, though. The market at Ag Heritage Park is opening up this Thursday from 3 to 6 p.m. It will be there every Thursday throughout the rest of the summer from 3 to 6 p.m. They will have, it's like a farmer's market. They'll have 30 different local vendors providing fresh produce to our community. So be sure to stop by that. Ag Heritage Park, for those who don't know, is kind of over by the stadium on South Donahue Drive by Red Barn. So be sure to stop by that. And the final thing I wanted to mention is the city breakfast. It's upcoming. I'm leaving for an internship later this week, so I won't have the pleasure to be there. But I haven't really touched on this too much in our city council meetings. So for those listening and those in the audience, the mayor is gracious enough to have us come and eat at the city hall and have breakfast and really have candid conversations about our community and deepen the connection between the Auburn student body and the city council and the city in general. So we're really appreciative of that. And I know that we're all looking forward to it. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Good.
War Eagle.
Thank you, Jack. Okay, this time is citizens' communication on items on tonight's agenda. I will point you that there are, under resolutions, there's a couple of conditional uses that have public hearings attached. If you'd like to speak to the council about either one of those, I'd ask that you wait until that public hearing is open. But if you'd like to speak to the city council about anything else on our agenda, now is your time to come forward, and please give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have 5 minutes. Okay, seeing no one, we'll move ahead with city manager's communications.
Mayor, council, I'd like to announce that we have a board vacancy. Planning Commission, 3 positions. The terms will begin on August 1st, 2024 and last through July 31st, 2030. The appointments will be made at your July 16th, 2024 meeting. The site for the applications will go live in the morning.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Cummins. I do want to make an announcement. One of those vacancies is currently being held by Mr. Bob Reitenbaugh, who is completing his first term on the Planning Commission. He will be seeking a second full term, and I'll be coming to the council a little bit later and asking the council to suspend the rules so we can go ahead and reappoint him. The other 2 positions are vacating those positions, and those will be opportunities for others to serve. The consent agenda.
Consent agenda. Does anyone wish to remove anything from the consent agenda for special consideration?
Yes, sir, Mr. Griswold.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, I'd like to remove 8 Bravo 1. It's 8B1, please.
At 8B4.
B4, okay. Anyone else? Okay. You holding your hand up?
No.
Okay, all right, good. All right, 8B1.
8B1 is a request for the council to authorize the city manager to execute a memorandum of understanding with Auburn University for the removal and replacement of brick pavers along the plaza in front of the Auburn Alumni Center. This is located at 317 South College Street. This work is needed to complete the South College Street improvements that were a part of the intersection improvements at Sanford Avenue and Gay Street.
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Mr. Griswold?
Thank you. In the memorandum, it mentions that this project was initially done under the Metropolitan Planning Organization.
Yes, sir.
Who all is a party to that organization?
The MPO, it's the organization that we're partners with it through the Lee Russell Council of Government.
Okay. And was there a cost sharing on the initial project between us and any other entity for the road improvements?
The costs were shared between the city and Alabama Department of Transportation.
The university did not contribute toward that project at all?
They did not. This was a project initiated by us, and we were able to secure funding through our MPO for a large portion of the project.
Okay. So the earlier MOU did not involve the university, it was just us and ALDOT or?
That's correct.
Is there a reason why we're not asking for a cost sharing with the university for this expense?
Well, we initiated the work that came to need for this to be done. As we identified the need and working with the university, we were well into the project. It was not practical at that point to necessarily do a change order under an ALDOT contract because they actually administered the contract, managed the project, and so that was really not practical. We began looking at other options and began soliciting quotes, and admittedly, it was very difficult to get someone to quote us for these brick pavers. It's a specialty work item, and not a lot of the folks that do it are very busy. So we were able to finally secure a quote. It was for at least $50,000 more than what we're able to work with the university. And just for further information, we began discussing with the university. They actually proposed to take the project and manage the project if we would compensate them for that. They utilized one of their contracts that they have, which is a job order contracting agreement that the university facilities has, and we're able to secure a price of $105,000, which is in the memorandum of understanding. Again, that's $50,000 savings to us. They're managing the project on their property. Normally, when we're doing projects like most recently, a lot of you have seen the MLK Streetscape project, as we work on people's property and replacing sidewalks and dealing with driveways and things. A lot of times we have to extend work beyond the right of way and do work on their property. It's our project, so we end up paying for that. So I liken this work to something like that. Is we're just creating helping pay them to go back and correct that grade so that accessible people, ADA, can get to the entrance of the Alumni Center through this plaza entrance.
Was the grade ADA compliant prior to us doing this project?
Yes, sir.
And our project has caused it now to be non-compliant.
We lowered a foot, maybe. Yeah, we lowered the grade about a foot, and it did create that non-compliancy with that because it created a step, and not a smooth transition that someone could ride up in a wheelchair or walk up if they had other impairments.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that is approved. All right, 8B4.
Item 8B4 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a contract with Pound Construction Company Incorporated for the provision of construction services to install 8 rooftop HVAC units to serve the Joyland Daycare classrooms area at the Boykin Community Center in the amount of $242,000. The city authorized the purchase of the equipment on February 6, 2024.
Move for approval.
Have a motion and a second. Ms. Taylor?
Okay, I just wanted to ask, when this project is approved and everything go through it, well, first of all, during the construction of it, is it gonna interrupt with the opening or activities for the daycare center?
It shouldn't. This work will be done separate from the existing units. Existing units will be able to stay in service as we're doing this work, so it should have very minimal impact, if any, on the daycare.
Oh, okay. And so once everything is in place and approved and thing, do you know about when this construction is gonna start?
I'll look at their Public Works Director, see if he's got any input on that.
Yeah, so the contract requires them to start June. Am I on now? There we go. Contract requires them to start June 1, and they are to be substantially complete by August 31st.
Oh, okay. June 1 this year?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
And they'll do each classroom consecutively, so they won't do all 8 units at the same time. They will install one at a time. So if there is any disruption with the classroom, it'll be coordinated directly with the Community Services Director and the Joyland Daycare itself.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I'm very much in favor of this replacement to the HVAC at Boykin, and I understand from city manager and her staff that there will be improvements scheduled. They already scheduled for this fiscal year, I believe. And we run into some difficulty on how to meet that schedule because of engineering challenges, I think, in the building on Dean Road. Is that true?
Yes, you're asking about Dean Road. Well, actually, as we're looking at adding the HVAC there, the concerns with the roof, we've been reevaluating the roof. We're also looking at some of the floor planning for that. I was looking at the Public Services Executive Director, see if he's got any more input on what we're doing there. But I know we've been looking, at that because there has been some changes. It's not just as simple as replacing the HVAC and the ductwork.
Correct. Parks and Recreation is currently in conversation with some structural engineers as well as HVAC experts to make sure about the roof sustainability for handling the HVAC units. Once we get those answers, we'll be able to move forward with it.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Okay. We have a motion second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. Do I have a motion to approve the balance of the consent agenda?
So move.
Second?
I have a motion second. Any further questions? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the consent agenda is approved. Ordinances.
Under ordinances, item 9A1 is Chapman annexation of approximately 1.43 acres located at 375 Lee Road 51, that's Chadwick Lane. The Planning Commission recommended approval of this request by a vote of 8-0 at its May 9th, 2024 meeting. Unanimous consent is necessary.
I'll introduce the ordinance and ask for unanimous consent.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Does anyone on the council have a problem moving forward with a vote on this evening? Seeing and hearing none, any comments or questions from the council? Okay, Lindsay?
Taylor,
Yes.
Witten,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Koblenz,
Yes, ma'am.
Dawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Griswold,
Yes, ma'am.
Mormon,
Yes, ma'am.
Parsons,
Yes.
Yes.
Item 9A2 is East Gold Hill annexation. This is annexation of approximately 5.1 acres located on Lee Road 93, which is Ensminger Road. The Planning Commission recommended denial of this request by a vote of 9-0 at its May 9th, 2024 meeting. Unanimous consent is necessary.
I'll introduce the ordinance and ask for unanimous consent.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Does anyone on the council have a problem moving forward with a vote on this evening? Seeing and hearing none, any comments or questions from the council?
I would like to just state that this is part of a larger lot that we had looked at back in, I think, 2020, and that we determined at that time, because this property sits outside the optimal boundary, and that for the sake of city services and school services, it would be a very difficult area to service appropriately. And so for those reasons, I will be voting against this annexation.
Anyone else?
Yes.
Yes,
I'd just like to ask the staff or the city manager, about the optimal boundary. When it was delineated, it went along Ensminger Road, even though there is a rectangular portion of Lee County that extends above it. What was the rationale for not including the remaining portion of Lee County in the optimal boundary?
The optimal boundary at that time extended to the existing city limits, and that was already in the city limits. So we eliminated, or we stopped it there. We may not have considered going further north at that point if city limits was not that far.
Yeah, I can certainly see not wanting to annex anything in Chambers County. I understand that. Have we annexed anything outside of the optimal boundary over the last several years?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure we have.
Okay, so it's not a hard and fast. Okay, and the limitation of services, could you tell us what they will have, what they would not have? I know water only goes as far as partway up Heath Road.
Right, we're probably about 2.5 to 3 miles away with any kind of water service that we could provide. We're not aware that anybody has any kind of water service up there, so it's not like a situation where they could go to Lochapoka or Beauregard or somewhere else. So, it would be well service or something like that, septic tanks. But as far as other services go, we provide our, garbage collection. The schools would provide service up through there, but, then again, you're having school buses potentially having to go, make that journey all the way up there.
Okay. And this rural section to the, that's adjacent to this property, that's already in the city, does it have the same limitation on services?
It does.
But it's serviced by the sanitation folks and everything already, so they're up there.
We do, yes, sir.
And they go to the Auburn City schools, as far as you know?
Yes, sir, as far as I know.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else have a question or comment? Okay. Lindsay, roll call?
Witten,
No.
Adams,
No.
Koblenz,
No, ma'am.
Dawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Griswold,
Yes, ma'am?
Mormon,
No, ma'am.
Parsons,
No.
Taylor,
No.
Anders.
No.
Item 9A3 is Pinewood Place annexation of approximately 1.18 acres located at 2428 Pinewood Place. Planning Commission recommended approval of this request by a vote of 8-0 at its May 9th, 2024 meeting. Unanimous consent is necessary.
I'll introduce the ordinance and ask for unanimous consent.
Second.
We have a motion and seconds. Anyone on the council have a problem moving forward with a vote on this evening? Okay, seeing and hearing none, any comments or questions from the council? Okay, Lindsay, with the roll call?
Adams,
Yes.
Koblenz,
Yes, ma'am.
Dawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Griswold,
Yes, ma'am?
Mormon,
Yes, ma'am.
Parsons,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Witten,
Yes.
Anders.
Yes.
And to resolutions. Item 10A1 is with Caliber Collision. It's conditional use approval for road service use, auto repair, and paint body work. The subject property is located immediately west of 1646 South College Street in the South College Corridor District, SCCD zoning district. The Planning Commission recommended approval of this by request by a vote of 9-0 at its May 9th, 2024 meeting. A public hearing is required.
Move for approval.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. This time I'll open the public hearing. If you'd like to address the city council regarding this topic, please come forward and give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have 5 minutes to speak to the council. Okay, seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing. Any comments or questions from the council? Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries.
Item 10A2 is with University Wine and Spirits. It's a conditional use approval for commercial and entertainment use, a package store. The subject property is located at 316 North Donahue Drive in the Corridor Redevelopment District West, CRDW zoning district. The Planning Commission recommended approval of this application by a vote of 7-2 at its May 9th, 2024 meeting. A public hearing is required.
Move for approval.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second. This time we'll open the public hearing. If you'd like to address the council, please come forward and give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have 5 minutes to speak to the council. Yes, sir.
Good evening, everybody. This is my first time, so I'm nervous.
You're doing good.
I have a few business in Auburn City. like 4 business, Cigar and Fine Spirit, Beeline Shell gas station on Oplaika Road, Hype Bar and Grill, and the Gold Post store. And regarding this point, I just don't know, like I am opposed. So I am saying like Gold Post is very close to this property, and on that corner they already have a 2 package store. One is Vigal gas station. They already have the package and liquor permit and everything. And Gold Post also have a permit for the package store and this. Gold Post, we are doing this business from 20 years, and I am running that business from last 5 years. And so I think like for a package store in the one corner, they already have a 2 package store, and the third one is gonna kill everybody business. But that's I just want to say. So I don't know what is the procedure, but I just want to come and talk about it.
Well, thank you for coming forward. You still have 3 minutes and 45 seconds if you have anything else you'd like to say. But if not, if we have any questions, we might ask you to come back forward. Is that okay?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
And just, he needs to state his name and address for the record. He didn't do that.
Did you give us your name and address?
No, no.
Okay, please. Would you please come back to the microphone and give us your name and address?
Yeah, my name is Jay Desai, and my address is 825 Whittington Street, Auburn, Alabama 36832.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Anyone else like to speak to the council? Okay, we'll close the public hearing. Any comments or questions from the council?
Well, maybe, I just want to understand what he was saying. I really didn't understand what he's saying. So I do know that he stated that there's already 3 other package stores in that area. Okay, so this will make the 4th one. So the other 3?
There's two.
Oh, there's 2.
One at the Goalpost and one at Weagle
Okay,
convenience store.
so this will make a 3rd one.
Correct.
Okay, so, are they owned, was they owned by him? Is that, one of them is? And which one is that? The Goalpost? The one at the Goalpost?
Correct, the Goalpost,
Okay.
yes.
So, are you saying that, maybe I just want to make sure, clarity. So are you saying that this is okay with you, or you don't think it's okay? It's not okay to bring in this 3rd one. So this is not your University Wine and Spirit? Okay, so this is another contractor. Okay.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Is anybody here from the university, or whatever they call us?
Wine and Spirit.
Is there a representative from the company that is looking for this conditional use? Apparently not.
Personally, I don't think this is a good fit for Bragg. I would be interested in what Ms. Taylor thinks about it. We already got 2 in the area. I don't think we need a 3rd one. If it's gonna be a grocery store and part of it, what I understood last time Ms. Taylor asked, they don't have to put a grocery store in the other half of it if they don't want to. So I just can't see putting a 4,000 square foot liquor store over on Bragg Avenue, personally.
Just for clarification, was it 4,000, is the whole building 8,000 square feet?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, and we're approving 4,000 square feet for,
That is
A liquor store,
that was
so
a
half the
recommendation
building.
from staff to the planning commission. The planning commission carried forth that recommendation to limit the square footage, floor area for the package store to be 4,000 maximum.
Ms. Taylor asked last meeting if they had to put the grocery store in, they don't have to do that.
Not upon this approval, they would not, but they could also, use a number of other permitted uses. They could put in that additional space as well, or come back in and ask for an additional conditional use for the other space.
But they can do the grocery store.
They can do the
But
grocery store.
we're tonight trying to approve them doing the package store.
Correct.
Is
The
that
grocery
right?
store is a permitted use.
Okay. So they haven't considered maybe the whole area, so that whole 8,000 feet be a grocery store? I just want to understand why they want to include it, which is a good point, that we already got 2 liquor stores in that area. So, I mean, do we just want to just continue to encourage people right there at the railroad track to get intoxicated and take a chance at getting hit by the train? And because you already got 2 liquor stores there. And I'm just thinking out loud. I don't think,
It's happened before.
yeah. And I've lived in that area. I don't think this would be something that I could actually approve.
So it's my understanding that our ability to deny a conditional use has to fall upon health, safety, welfare, not competition. And the gentleman who spoke before was speaking because he does not want competition, because he already has a business that serves as a package store. It would be no different, and I understand the difference from an alcohol use, but from a competition perspective, it would be no different than another chicken finger place going beside 2 other chicken finger places. And the market will dictate who thrives and who doesn't. And that's not our responsibility to determine what the market will dictate. But from a health, safety, welfare, if there's 2 other ones in the area, is a third one a tipping point, or is it just competition that saturation? And those 2 things are very different things to consider when we're making this decision. Just wanted to put that out there.
I don't think you can compare chicken fingers to the alcohol.
I'm not comparing the 2. I'm stating.
Nobody's ever got drunk off chicken fingers and walked in front of a
Hold
train.
on just a second, Chief. Let her finish.
I did, and I stated they are not the same, but it's from a competition perspective, it would be the same scenario. If you had 2 chicken finger places and a third one wanted to come in, then the 2 other chicken finger restaurant owners would not want a third one to come in. I did not say comparing alcohol to chicken fingers. But if we already have 2 package stores and we find that it's okay to have 2 in the area, then from a health, safety, welfare, this doesn't meet the measurement of denying it unless if someone can explain to me the saturation and tipping point changes health, safety, welfare for denial.
Chief. Y'all seem to have it covered.
No, I'm giving you a chance to respond.
I done made my statement, and I don't think it's appropriate for the area. I think it's dangerous. I've seen it too many times in nearly 40 years of serving this community. And I don't think you can compare it to a chicken finger place going out to eat chicken fingers. I've seen some very bad accidents there because of alcohol related. And I'm with Ms. Taylor on this one. I just don't see if it's appropriate. And as far as I'm concerned, take the other 2 out now. Wouldn't bother me a bit, but I just don't think that area needs another liquor store. And it has nothing to do with somebody else's profits or anything. I care less what they make. I'm doing it from my main concern and from my experience in law enforcement. I don't think we need a 4,000 square foot liquor store on Bragg Avenue.
And I'm not looking at it as a competition. That's the reason why I wanted him to clarify. So it's not about the competition of it. It's just pretty much about the safety of the area and the people that actually are in that area. And I live on the west side, and I just think that we just don't need another liquor store in the area.
I'm in full agreement with Ms. Taylor.
Anyone else?
Just a couple of quick questions. The 4,000 square foot grocery store portion, whose idea was that? The developers or the city? What was the point of that?
Applicants, it was their request.
And it was just to stay solvent, to be able to make enough money to pay the rent, or was there any other benefit to them?
Let's see if the planning director has anything to add to that, because he actually worked with them on their application.
Yeah, so it was a voluntary. So they came in and it was their proposal. They said that they wanted to do half of the 8,000 square foot building as a liquor store and then the other half as a grocery store. So it was something that they completely brought up unsolicited from staff.
All right. It's not called University Groceries and Spirits. It's called University Wine and Spirits. And I just wondered if that was not really part of their idea, or if not a big part of their idea, it was just kind of an afterthought. it doesn't seem to be their primary motive for opening the business, in other words.
And so I guess just kind of for the clarity upon the name of the application, so the conditional use permit is only required for the package store. The conditional use permit is not required for the grocery store. And so the grocery store would be omitted from the name of the application for that reason.
They would likely set up two separate entities, even if they had the grocery store, so.
I think it said that in the application.
Yep, that is correct. It would have to be separated by a partition. So not just a building where you would enter the liquor store from the building, or where you could access both sides. There would have to be two separate entrances, one for the grocery store, one for the liquor store, and there'd have to be a partition between the two.
Right. I don't think most of us were aware that there were already two package stores. I'll be honest with you, I didn't know Weagle had a package store, and I really apologize. I didn't know that the Goalpost was a package store. I could have read the sign. I remember now that it is. So within 300 feet, there would be three.
Yes, sir.
Bottom line.
Scott, I know for everyday living and maybe moral questions that health, safety, and welfare based around the topic of alcohol can be quantified, but from approving a use, can the sale of alcohol be something that's considered for health, safety, and welfare?
Just the sale of the alcohol. We're fortunate to have
The location and the sale of alcohol.
We're fortunate to have our city attorney in. I'll look to him for some consultation on that, if you don't mind, sir.
So in and of itself, the sale of liquor is not a health, safety, and welfare concern generally. When you look at the approval or disapproval of liquor stores generally under health, safety, and welfare, you usually are looking for statistical evidence of increased crime rates, increased accident rates, increased traffic, anything that would affect the safety and health and welfare of the community around the store itself, supported by statistical evidence.
Did the Family Dollar that was there before this, that went out of business, did it serve or sell alcohol?
I don't know for sure. I don't.
Beer, wine? We don't know?
I'm not aware that they did.
No? Okay. Some do, I just didn't know.
Yeah, I'm not aware that they did.
Okay. Any other comments or questions from the dais?
I'm not trying to be difficult with this, and I sometimes speak before I think it through, but I don't mean to be rude about it, but I'm just telling you, I spent 40 years so far in this town trying to keep crime down, keep things safe, and I've seen a lot of people lose their life because they got intoxicated and walked out from a train right there in that particular area. Some people I was very fond of killed right there at that train. So I just don't feel like it's appropriate for there, and it's not because I'm competition there. I genuinely care about losing another person to an alcohol-related accident right there on that corner. And I just don't think it's a good place for another liquor store.
Mr. Cummins, for the Weagle gas station and the Goalpost, were those conditional uses to allow those entities, because that's not their primary purpose? I know the Goalpost at one time was a grocery store. Certainly when I was in college, I can remember alcohol being served in there, maybe not liquor, but beer. And then Weagle was set up. I believe they've had a liquor store since they opened their doors. I can't promise that, but I believe that. So
The service station was a conditional use. It's in the same zone, so it would require the conditional use on itself. As far as the Goalpost goes, I would have to double check, and I think the planning director is actually double checking the zoning for that to see if it was a condition, because package stores are permitted uses in some zoning, and that is in a separate zone.
that's Goalpost in a separate zone?
Yes, sir. It's in Urban Neighborhood West.
Okay.
And, as far as some of the other uses that sold alcohol were conditional uses in that zone, but I will double check, seeing if he's double checking that.
Anyone else on the council have any other further questions?
Yeah, I'd like to say, the comment I made about Miss Whitten comparing, chicken fingers to liquor, I shouldn't have made that comment. So I regret saying that, but I'm still against the liquor store on Bragg Avenue.
I accept that, and it was not meant to be a comparison, and it may have been a poor comparison, but it was meant to compare competition-related items and to state that, anyway, we already have 2 package stores in that area, so if those were okay to have in the area, then why is this one not okay to have in the area, is a question I have.
Your point was well taken, and I'm man enough to admit when I say something we shouldn't say.
We're good, Chief, thank you.
You good, Tom? You good?
We're good.
Y'all good? Okay. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, so the package store to the south is in a different zoning district, and it's also a conditional use. So all of them would have had to get conditional uses to be approved.
Do we know when those conditional uses took place and what the votes were for those? We don't know?
No.
Would it be appropriate to table this to a future date so that we could have some more history of the area and what has been approved conditionally for package stores? Is that something, or are we good with the information we have?
Is the council, Ms. Witten's essentially asking for us to table this to a date in the future. Would that be the wish of the rest of this body, or does everybody have enough that they can cast a vote this evening?
Would it be appropriate for the city manager to look and see what the statistics show of alcohol-related accidents in that particular area?
We can definitely pull that data together.
And could we do it in relation to when those other package stores were since they've been there, to see if there's been an increase since those conditional uses were approved?
Yes, we can
The
put a
goalpost's
timeline
been there
together for
for a
that.
long time.
Yes, sir,
I'm
it
sure we
has.
can get.
Eagle would be the most recent, correct? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Everybody, Mr. Griswold, y'all good with
Well,
tabling?
Well,
or-
I just want
Connie?
to say, the 2 liquor stores that's already in the area, they're there. Okay, I just don't see the increase of having another one in that area. So, that's my thought on it. I don't care if we get other information or not. I just don't feel like there need to be a 3rd liquor store in the area.
Okay, so
you know,
what you're
that's-
saying, you're
that
good
just-
with where you are
I'm good
and
with
nothing's
where
gonna
I'm at.
change it? Okay,
Yeah.
I understand. Okay.
Is there a motion to postpone?
There's not, I'm taking the pulse of the council right now.
I would be fine with postponing.
I move to postpone to a date certain of the first meeting in June,
I'll second that.
June 4th.
June 4th.
There's a motion and a second to postpone to June 4th. I think the correct way of doing this is we'll have discussion on that first and then we'll take a vote. So you want to ask a question?
I just wondered if that would give the city manager enough time to do the request, to honor the requests that were made.
We can pull that information from traffic reports and data.
Okay, so your estimation 2 weeks is enough time?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any other comments or questions on the motion to table until June the 4th? Okay. So all in favor of table until June the 4th, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Hey,
So that would be 7 ayes, 2 nays. Okay. So, so I believe we need to go back to the original motion now, correct? Am I correct on Robert's rules here? So we have a motion to table until June the 4th. Do we need to clean up the entire order here?
No, not after.
We're good?
Not after you postpone.
Okay,
to a
just
date
want to make
certain.
sure.
Correct, yes.
Okay, all right,
And
so
then
we'll table this.
You would move right into acting on that motion.
Okay, all right. So this will be postponed for 2 weeks. Okay, all right. Final item.
The final item we have is item 10B, which is a resolution authorizing city manager to execute a contract with the lowest responsible bidder, JLD Enterprises LLC, in the amount of $1,524,324 for the cost of labor, equipment, and materials necessary to complete construction of the North Dean Road and East University Drive intersection improvement project. The city council previously authorized the purchase of 4 traffic signals and mast arms for this project on April 4th, 2023.
Move for approval.
Second?
Have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions from the council? Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries.
There are no other items for business.
Okay. At this time, we'll open Citizens Open Forum. This is your opportunity to speak to the council about anything that might be on your mind. We'll ask that you come forward and give us your name and address for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to speak to the council. I also want to remind you to have your comments directed towards the council and not to mention any particular staff member by name. Yes. Sure.
Steve Cosgrove, 1927 Watercress Drive, and again, I really appreciate everything you all do and your constructive discussions and so forth. Ron, I really appreciated your talking about the Memorial Day service too. That was something I really, really enjoyed being a part of. I won't be able to be there this year. I'm going to be out of state. I got to visit my sister up in Illinois and high school friends. They're waning, but I definitely would be there. I really, really admire that initiative. But I wanted to thank, I know Kelly, I believe you and Tyler and Sonny were all in the military. Am I correct? Am I missing anybody?
I was not.
You were not?
No.
Well, I just installed you. I don't know why I thought that. And anybody else out here that was in the military, I wanted to thank you for your service. That was my point. I'm thanking you for your service, Chief.
Thank you very much.
Because you're a lot closer to those that would have been given that ultimate sacrifice, like our mayor mentioned, than a lot of us. I know that. I carry this little button. This has been kind of a theme of mine in coaching kids and just what I do in life is that none of us is as smart or as good or as strong or as productive as all of us. I'm going to repeat that again. None of us is as smart or as good or as strong or as productive as all of us. And I really, really believe that. And that's why I admire what y'all are doing, because you're all, you're working in a concerted fashion. What I shared with you last week, I really appreciate some of the heartfelt comments that I received and the engaging dialogue. I really, really do. My entire initiative for this whole passion with Felton Little Park had to do with three primary purposes. Number one, to write and tell and therefore preserve and capture the story of Felton Little Park. It's fascinating. It's fascinating. I've learned so much about it. The number two was to reflect favorably on the city of Auburn. I think we really, really done as good a job on that as we could. And number three, to honor Felton Little Park. And for the life of me, I can't see that there's any sort of downside on any of that, and certainly nothing to ever impugn or embarrass anyone or anything with the city. Bullet number 5 in the city's vision is the active involvement of citizens. That's bullet number 5 in your vision statement. Bullet number 8 in your mission statement is facilitating citizen involvement. It's interesting that both of those have the word citizen and involvement in it. And what we did, I think, was right in line with that.
Thank you, Mr. Cosgrove.
But I really appreciate you all for letting me share that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who will be next?
Robert Wilkins, 261 Denson Drive, Auburn, Alabama. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Good to see y'all. I'm going to take y'all into an imaginary world while bringing y'all back to the real world. The Wizard of Auburn. The characters of this mystical, magical world are where the wizard is played by the Auburn bureaucrats. Dorothy, who is our conscience, and must travel to the loveliest village on the plains to ask the help of the Wizard of Auburn. Dorothy sets out on this challenging journey protected by a kiss from the Witch of the North, representing our Bill of Rights. Dorothy developed friendship with the lion, the Tin Man, and the Scarecrow. They're looking for courage, a heart, and a brain, which are played by the Auburn City Council and its mayor, in following the yellow brick road that represents our constitutional freedoms. The Wicked Witch of the West is the greedy elites the commercial real estate owners, developers, and hotel owners who have destroyed our village. The munchkin, of course, is played by us, Auburn citizens. Our overpaid bureaucratic wizard sometimes provides useless or even no data in making proper decisions on such issues as Cherry Street, business revocation license, the redistricting of voting lines to allow more representation, short-term rental, and more. The mayor took no leadership role in resolving the short-term rental issue. Instead, took the bureaucratic road by appointing an impotent task force with the help of a commission and a board. A leader would have found the common ground for both groups, short-term rental and don't hotel our neighborhood, realizing that both groups were 100% in agreement. They just didn't know it. The issue of Payne Street was not homeowners' issue, but a multiple commercial issue. In the meantime, one of our brave little munchkins, Miss Shamp, who has been fighting to get porn access away from our underage kids in the Auburn Library, but no courage, brain or heart was shown by the Auburn City Council or its mayor. The wizard tried to sneak in on the consent agenda the business revocation license, which would have given the city of Auburn incredible leverage on businesses. But our mayor pro tem, Whitten, had the courage and the brain with a no vote, forcing real discussions. Councilman Taylor has shown courage and heart with her citizens in supporting the police issue in Ward 1, while not a single fellow council member had the courage, heart, or brain to speak up. Yes, you, the Auburn City Council, as you travel down the yellow brick road of life, you can show us munchkins that you have the courage, the heart, and the brain to be like the Good Witch in protecting our Bill of Rights. Thank you.
Thank you. Who will be next?
Susan Bolt, 1188 East University Drive. Tonight, I want to start out talking about City Code, Section 12-14B5. Quote, any person offering parking spaces on private property for rental on Auburn University football home game days shall be exempt from the requirement to obtain a business license, provided that such person owns the private property on which parking space is being offered for rent. The code continues, but this is the part I wish to disclose. As you can see, the city is quite glad to have transient people in the city for game days. They also are happy to have traffic and make it easier for transient visitors coming to Auburn. However, these are two of the arguments used to zone out properties like mine. Traffic and transients. I hope you can see the hypocrisy. Another hypocrisy happened on 3/19/24 when one of the more vocal Don't Hotel Our Neighborhood people came to the podium to thank you for not allowing short-term rentals in her neighborhood. Yet she owns a short-term rental in another jurisdiction and it's managed by her daughter-in-law. These are the hypocrites that the STR5 listened to when passing the unconstitutional short-term rental ordinance. Mr. Dawson, you stated that you made a promise to someone to not allow short-term rentals. I hope it wasn't one of these people that fooled you into your position. Understand there is no honor in keeping a promise when it tramples on our Constitution. Mr. Griswold, as a retired Army colonel, you took an oath which was for life, then dishonored our Constitution by voting for Ordinance 3288. But I bet you still cash those retirement checks. Two of the STR5 that voted away my constitutional property rights admitted to using short-term rentals when you travel. Pure hypocrisy. You still have a two-tier justice system in the city of Auburn. I pointed this out over a year ago, yet it's still happening. This ordinance is said to be complaint-driven. If that were the truth, we wouldn't need the software to spy on Auburn citizens. A reoccurring hypocrisy occurs every time the STR5 says the Pledge of Allegiance prior to the meeting. In the past, I've provided you with facts to reflect the unconstitutionality of Ordinance 3288. Tonight, I have highlighted only some of the hypocrisies surrounding this ordinance. You can hold tight to your position and your vote, but to not correct the injustice of this ordinance now that you are aware of the facts absolutely does reflect on your character, and not in a good way. One final thought, Mayor. Because Memorial Day is to honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice to defend our freedoms, I would like to suggest that you let Mayor Pro Tem Witten stand in for you at any Memorial Day activities. It would be disingenuous and hypocritical for you to pretend to honor their sacrifice when you voted freedom away so casually.
Thank you. She did a great job last year.
I did, thank you.
Who'll be next? Who'll be next?
Martha Shamp, 307 Camellia Drive. I went to the library this morning. It was a real joy to see so many cute moms with their little precious children. And I plead the blood of Jesus over every child that walks through those doors, that they not fall into the morals of venomous snakes and some of the filthy books in the library. Yes, the snakes are still there. The council has not removed them, but the children are still in danger. I saw several diamondback rattlers. I saw a black mamba. I saw a green mamba. I saw a dangerous cobra. And there was a little deadly coral snake, very pretty to look at, very deceptive. Waiting for, let's see, in the youth section, young adult, I spotted 2 pythons, ginormous. Oh, says the person who runs the library, some of our patrons like them. The parents will just have to fight these snakes best they can. I mean, it's up to them to safeguard their children. We just get the snakes in here. And in the graphic book section, I saw 3 timber rattlers. In the children's wing, I saw 4 water moccasins. By the front desk, I saw a few pygmy rattlers. And in all the teen sections, I saw 2 deadly anacondas. Each was waiting for his prey to wrap his coils around the little ones and squeeze the life out of them. I asked this council many months ago, who will kill the anaconda? Who will kill the anaconda? The little animals that come down to the river to drink knowledge, understanding of life, what's right, what's wrong, they're at risk by some of these books that are bought by y'all. But their moms are crying out, who will kill the anaconda? And they're still crying out to this day. Thank you.
Who will be next?
My name is Harriet Huggins. I live at 631 South Dean Road. I'd like to share with you some information regarding a U.S. Supreme Court decision in Pico versus the Board of Education. Although this case was about censorship in a school library, there are broad implications for public libraries. In this case, students brought suit against the Board of Education for its removal of books from the school library. The students claimed that the removal of books affected a form of political and ideological thought control, which is totally antithetical to the First Amendment of the Constitution. Justice Brennan wrote the following in the concurring opinion for the court. The Constitution protects not just the right to speak and write, but to receive information and ideas. The First Amendment plays the critical role in affording the public access of discussion and ideas. The selective removal of books from a school library because someone considers the content offensive directly and sharply implicates free speech and thought. In school libraries, the regime of voluntary inquiry holds sway. The answer to books whose content or viewpoint of which you oppose or even deplore is not to read them or write a negative review or even shades of Voltaire here. Is to write your own book and answer. He further said, students do not shed their constitutional rights to freedom of speech or expression at the schoolhouse gate. and such rights may be directly and sharply implicated by the removal of books from the shelves of a school library. Likewise, I would suggest that patrons do not shed their constitutional rights of freedom of speech or expression at the doors of the public library. I would also like to close and say how grateful I am for a library staff in Auburn who make sure that the entire population of this city is represented in their materials and in the programs that they present. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Who would be next?
Hey everyone, Leah Billy Welburn, 112 North Bartleben Street, Apartment 5. I wanted to come up because I know in 2 weeks there's going to be the issue of new sidewalks out near the high school. A neighbor of mine told me about that, and my thought is even though the expense is pretty high, we're going to have thousands of kids walking around that area over the next decades, and it'd be a good investment to keep our young people safe. The other thing I wanted to come up here was to share a review of a book called Who's Afraid of Gender by Judith Butler, and I thought I'd just read you some of the description I found of it. This is an account of how fear of gender is fueling reactionary politics around the world. Judith Butler, the groundbreaking thinker whose iconic book Gender Trouble redefined how we think about gender and sexuality, confronts the attacks on gender that have become central to the right-wing movements of today. Global networks have formed anti-gender ideology movements that are dedicated to circulating a fantasy that gender is dangerous, perhaps diabolical, threat to families, local culture, civilization, and even man himself. Inflamed by the rhetoric of public figures, this movement has sought to nullify reproductive justice, undermine protection against sexual and gender violence, and strip trans and queer people of their rights to pursue a life without fear of violence. The aim of Who's Afraid of Gender is not to offer a new theory of gender, but to examine how gender has become a phantasm for emerging authoritarian regimes, fascist formations, and trans-exclusionary feminists. In their vital, courageous new book, Butler illuminates the concrete ways that this phantasm of gender collects displaced anxieties and fears of destruction. Operating in tandem with deceptive accounts of critical race theory and xenophobic panics about migration, the anti-gender movement demonizes struggles for equality, fuels aggressive nationalism, and leaves millions of people vulnerable to subjugation. Who's Afraid of Gender is a bold call to refuse the alliance with authoritarian movements and to make broad coalitions with all those who struggle for equality, linked with fighting injustice. Imagining new possibilities for both freedom and solidarity, Butler offers us a hopeful work of social and political analysis that is both timely and timeless, a book whose verve and rigor only they could deliver. Thanks.
Thank you. Who will be next?
Hi, I'm Deborah Beal, 802 Tullahoma Drive, and I was at the Auburn Library Board meeting this morning, and there's some exciting things going on that I wanted to remind you of. The seed library that the FA was here a few months ago talking about is now open, and you can go check out seeds, plant them, and they even have books to tell you how to do those things and make them grow. Somebody who questioned what if you kill your plants? So if you're into planting things, check out seeds and experiment with some new stuff. They're also getting ready for their summer learning challenge. And today I was able to log in to the Beanstack application and get ready to start logging my hours of reading June 1st. I get asked often if I work at the library, and that gives me the opportunity to say no, but I got this t-shirt by reading and doing that. So this is a great advertising tool for the city, and I do it playing pickleball with 60 other old people over there, and explaining to them all of the ways you can log hours. You can log hours with Audible books, you can log hours with reading newspapers, you can log hours reading books, e-books. You can even log hours reading your daily Bible scriptures. And you just go in and log your time. And so I want to encourage all of you, if you haven't signed up for it, to do that. But I'm also here today as a Christian and as a citizen of Auburn and as somebody who has served as a president of a church council in a local congregation. And I want to remind you how many different churches there are in this location, how many different congregations. I Googled today, because you can do that on anything. And Cause IQ says there are 193 religious organizations and churches in the Auburn metro area. That includes Opelika, includes the county, but that's an awful lot of religious organizations and churches. It includes not only Christian churches, but churches and organizations of other faiths. But over half of those are Christian churches. And over half of them, they all exist because people disagreed about the interpretation of Scripture. And everyone in those churches has different views of Scripture. And if you've ever been active in a church, you know that different people inside that congregation have different views of how to interpret the Scripture. And I want to remind you that you serve a diverse community that has differing views on what God is, who God is, and how to interpret the Christian Scriptures if they believe in that. Thank you.
Thank you.
How many hours do you have to log to get a T-shirt?
1,000 hours.
1,000 hours?
No, 1,000 minutes. Sorry, 1,000 minutes. No.
I was very impressed.
1,000 minutes. You have to log 1,000 minutes, and I include Audible books, so when I'm driving anywhere, I'm logging minutes. So
For you, 1,000 hours.
Okay. Who'll be next? Yes.
Gabriel Dunham, 210 East Thatch Avenue, Auburn, Alabama. Auburn prides itself on its core value of diversity. The Auburn Public Library has a great diversity of books that reflect our city's diverse community. Some members of our community continue to use anti-LGBTQ+ hate speech and their religion and their moral beliefs to dictate what people should be represented in our library. Not every book in the library is for every reader, but it needs to be available. Banning LGBTQ+ books limits rights and representation of LGBTQ+ Americans. Pulling these books from the shelves deprive readers of all ages of essential, affirming representation of the Auburn LGBTQ+ community's lives and history. It is a discrimination against who we are as a people and a community, and it erases our voices. Libraries, just like our city, serve all who come through its doors. Free speech cannot be suppressed simply because some members find ideas and beliefs different from their own. Let all individuals in our community be represented. Thank you.
Who'll be next? Yes.
Hi, y'all. Carrie Hill, 1199 North Star Court. I just wanted to come up and compliment our library and also thank our city for its support of that community resource. I think we're fortunate to have a really good library here. I felt welcome every time I've walked in the doors of APL because employees at the desk always greet people with smiles when we walk in. Among all the different public libraries I've used in my life, which has been quite a few, the staff is exceptionally friendly and professional. The folks in charge of engagement run great programming, like the quarterly reading challenges that we've already talked about. And I can say for myself, they got me reading for fun again. After years of reading so much for school had me quite burned out on it. They also run great events that bring kids and families into our library, like this recent Bluey party they had that had the place packed out. Like if you know anything about kids right now, Bluey is like huge. The place was full of kids and families and parents who were so comfortable having their kids in that library, playing with other children in their community, and just being able to celebrate everyone who lives in our town. Finally, I love the diverse, inclusive, and large collections that employees at that library have thoughtfully curated. And based on circulation stats that are shared at library board meetings, I know I'm far from being alone in that. So yeah, I just want to say that I'm grateful for Auburn Public Library and that having such a healthy, well-supported library is a credit to our city, and it makes me proud to live in Auburn. Thank you.
Thank you. Who will be next? Anyone? Okay, we'll close the citizens' open forum. Anyone on the council have anything they'd like to add?
I'd just like to remind Ms. Shamp you're at the wrong venue again. I don't understand why you're here talking about snakes and all the rest of it. This body has no purview over the decisions of the public library.
Anyone else? Okay. Is there a yes? Sorry.
I would like to note the recent passing of William Dean, a beloved member of this community. William was involved in city government and supportive of a better Auburn for everybody. He was a fine individual. He'll be missed, and our prayers are with the Dean family.
I concur. Anyone else? Okay. Is there a move to adjourn? So move. We're adjourned.